Welcome back, everybody, to the Now Morning Show. And now up to our first interview. I am joined on set by Kelly McFarlane, who's a clinical psychologist as well as an organizational psychologist. And the topic we're speaking about today is World Health Day, which is today. And we're going to be speaking about the linkage between mental health and physical health. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us this morning.
Sure.
It's great to have you here. So the thing is, good health is not just feeling physically well, but it also encapsulates being mentally well also.
Correct.
Tell us about the importance of mental health when it comes to overall health.
Okay, well, the thing about mental health is that when we're mentally healthy, we're motivated.
Right.
We are able to enjoy things that we usually enjoy. We make better choices. We get along better with people. And all of these things, even choices we make about our diet, all of
Right.
these things impact our physical health, right? Let's say someone has an NCD or an underlying condition, a physical condition, and we want to ensure that they are adhering to their medical needs. A lot of times, if they are of optimal mental health, they're more likely to adhere to their medical needs and take care of their body. One of the elements of, let's say, moderate to severe mental illness is that lack of self-care.
Right.
Even as much as getting up, cleaning your surroundings, caring what you put into your body, caring to brush your teeth, take a shower, keep yourself clean
Right.
and presented a certain way. All of these things that affect us socially as well contribute or impact on our physical health.
I have a question, Kelly. How does one measure mental health?
All right, measure is an interesting word.
I mean, you're saying, keep it optimal, right?
Yes.
But how do we measure what is optimal? How do we know what is your optimal? Because I'm sure that my optimal will be different from yours, will be different from Carrie's.
Okay, so then let me define a little bit then what it means to have mental health. So oftentimes we may think, okay, if you're mentally healthy, you're happy all the time, or you're in a positive state of mind all the time. But part of mental health is also feeling negative emotions, but being able to regulate them. You get a bad drive, you get a little angry. Anger is anger is normal.
Say it again.
You get a little angry. Anger is normal. But does that anger carry on for 10, 15 minutes into the rest of the day and you're lashing out at everybody? So how do we regulate our emotions and our behaviors? So when we look at somebody and we wonder, okay, or at ourselves first, and we wonder, okay, am I mentally healthy? Am I experiencing optimal mental health? Look at it, let's say, emotionally, first of all. As much as we do experience negative emotions, and by negative emotions, sadness, anger, those kinds of things, how often, how frequently? So yes, I can get irritable, but am I irritable for most of the day, or am I lashing out and snapping at people quite a lot? Perhaps there's something else going on that I'm not checking into. So how frequently we feel sad, how frequently we feel angry, and what we do. So emotions and behavior. How do we manage those emotions? Do we take it out on others? Do we have good sort of interpersonal interactions with other people? You can, when you're a person who, or a person who constantly falls out with everybody, they're always in, something is going on. They're always in the middle of some bacchanal, as we say. It's hard to keep friends. It's hard to keep up relationships. That's another kind of key to check in with yourself. So it's really in a context of how you're surviving in the world.
Right.
Socially, internally, am I happy with myself? Do I feel motivated? Am I, the things that I set out to achieve, can I concentrate? Can I focus? Do I feel like I'm fulfilling my potential? So all of these things contribute to one feeling like, I feel like I'm mentally healthy.
And how do you know when you have done enough, when you're at the point where you have done self-assessment and how do you transition from that point to saying, okay, I think I need professional help, I need to see a healthcare professional for my mental health?
So what a lot of people do is they might reach out to somebody that they know.
Right.
Or sometimes what also often happens is that people keep complaining, for lack of a better word.
Right.
You know, you have different people saying, you know, find you a little snappy, or how come you behave like that with me, etc. And when you keep getting these messages, instead of denying or avoiding or being defensive, then it's time to say, well, okay, perhaps something is going on. The key to getting any kind of help is insight. So a person who doesn't think anything is wrong is not going to go anywhere for any kind of help, right? So at least having that insight that, I know that I am affecting people in a particular way, even though I can't see that I am doing anything wrong, because I'm affecting people in a particular way, and I'm not sure what to do to change that.
Right.
Then I can enlist the help of someone, either someone in my social circle, and when they can't help, or if they can't help, then I go off to get some professional help elsewhere.
But I feel like that's plenty introspection, right? And as you being from a mature place saying, all right, I'm realizing that I'm affecting people negatively and all that stuff. There are people out here who, if we're being honest, they just like, nah, everybody just mad.
Everybody
like,
else
everybody
wrong.
else is
Everybody else wrong. No?
So, yeah, so I am the one doing the right things, and you wrong, and you wrong, and you wrong, and no, they just don't understand what's going on here. How do we get to that person?
Correct. So that is a tricky one, and you know it kind of steps into the lane of personality disorder, right? If we want to get real clinical. Sometimes it could be personality disorder, sometimes it could be defense, and this is where the role of stigma has a big role to play, because there are lots of people who know they need help. I mean, they struggle, and they refuse to admit it to themselves because of that same word, mad. What? Go to a psychologist? What? Admit something is wrong, get help? That means I'm mad and everybody would scorn me and say bad things about me. I'll have no friends. My job, I will lose my job and all of these things. And I don't want to be associated. And so a lot of people don't understand what mental health is. And I think when people say, okay, when they associate mental health with mad, they associate it with let's say psychotic symptoms. They know, they think the unfortunate events that we see or incidents that we have seen play out in public. But that is about 1% of the mentally ill population, that schizophrenia, that psychotic, area. 1 in 4 people experience a mental health challenge or mental illness, will experience in their life, will be affected by it in their life. That is a quarter of our population. That's what, 250, 300,000 people.
Something like that.
And
correct.
people, so if we have a room full of 10 people, I mean...
Chances are 2 of them.
Correct, but we wear some really great masks, and the people can't tell that, you come to work, you smile, you're happy with people, you give socially what is expected, what you think is expected, and you go off at home and you struggle alone. And then we wake up and we hear about suicides and we say, I thought I saw something, or I thought I heard something, or there was no sign at all.
Yeah.
And if not for stigma, if only the mindset and the general thing, energy was of support to people who are having any kind of struggle, a lot of these people's lives could be saved.
Do you believe that incorporating these principles and even these studies in schools is something that would help people gain a better understanding and help to remove that stigma?
Oh, yes, for sure. I would love to see that. I would love to see sensitization start from elementary school.
Right.
Right? Understanding what it means to feel depressed, sad. Boys and girls, everybody could experience emotions, but this is what we do with our emotions. This is how we behave appropriately when we feel these emotions. This is how we support other people when they are having a hard time managing their emotions, or regulating and managing their behavior when they feel an extreme emotion. Empathy. Can we teach empathy?
But that's the next thing I was getting to, right? Because we have a whole generation now that dealing with everything in their phones. Like, everything is happening in your phones. And everybody's craving that attention. Everybody wants to get likes. Everybody wants to get followed. Everybody wants to get that level of attention. And it seems as though empathy is removed from the equation. It seems as though a lot of things are removed from the equation. Like, dealing with human interaction, because you're still talking to people, and the way we respond, like I saw people, the Prime Minister has contracted COVID-19, and people saying things like, he should die, and stupid things like that, and it's just because they can, because they have access to a phone, or they have access to whatever, and they're saying it. And how do we deal with that part of it? Because it's not only a particular generation of people who have the stigma of that, but there are people who are suffering from mental health and don't even realize, because they just keep craving attention more and more and more. How do we begin to address that part of it?
Well, you touched on two different things. You touched on the fact that we do have people among us who are what you call trolls, and who just, they do sort of spill a lot of negativity, or purposely put negativity out there, or they're just, unhappy, and they kind of share that, whether inadvertently, and they just sort of do it. And the other thing is social media, and the attention that social media brings can be very addictive. I mean, literally, the serotonin and these feel-good neurotransmitters, hormones in our brains. When you post something and you get the likes and you get that attention, there's a biological, a chemical reaction.
Release.
Correct, that's the one. That makes us want to do that again, and to get that again, that rush, that anxiety. So, for that reason, it does spiral, and I guess, especially with the younger generation, this is their thing. This is, they grew up with this.
So what we're really seeing is an outbreak of addiction.
Yeah, in a sense.
Wow, that is so.
When you think about
in a sense, I suppose that we're not classifying as addiction. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. That is a thing. Being addicted to social media and to the phone, and try, before you go to bed, or until you absolutely can't take it anymore, you're on the phone. First thing in the morning, you're back on the phone.
Sometimes your phone falls on your face because you're in bed looking at
exactly.
the phone down to the last bit of energy you have to stay awake.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, you're right. That is a thing that is emerging, and science is looking at.
So maybe the numbers have shifted when it comes to the number of individuals with a mental health issue, because this one is a little more insidious. It's something that is a little more silent. It may seem harmless, but it may seem harmless.
Because it's the norm, right?
Yeah, it's the norm that everybody's on their phone, and everybody are posting these things on social media to get the likes, to get that dopamine.
But not just that, it's also business for some people.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Because there are people who, we might laugh at influencers and say whatever, but the reality of the situation is some of these people, that's how they make a living.
Correct.
And they have to stay on their phones to be able to continue earning a living. But where do we draw that line? How do we even begin to address your mental health, and you're constantly having to post or having to try and get likes, follows,
But something, I would admit, and I would say that I find that the teenagers and young adults now, that generation, is very much in tune with mental health. I find that I see it there. I see it in that generation a lot more than in older generations. They're a lot more open to mental health treatment, to posting about mental health. And a lot of the celebrities in pop culture do promote the importance of protecting mental health and eradicating stigma.
So here's my challenge with that, right?
Yes.
Is that I agree with you. 100% I agree with you that the celebrities have been doing it, pop culture has been doing it, but I fear that it only affects the middle class and the upper class. And I still think that my limited experiences on the ground, you still see young people who are not okay. They're not okay, and they don't realize that they're not okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they out here in these streets and they're doing what they have to do, or they're not, or sometimes they just disappear, and you don't even see or hear from them again. And it's like, how do we get those people? It's because it's still a stigma. It's still something that they don't even realize that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
How do we get?
There is still a lot of work to be done. There is still a lot of, again, sensitization and stigma eradication and so on. But I feel hopeful. I want to be hopeful for our society. I mean, even in the media, look at how many programs we have now about mental health. Yeah. And I find that even since the unfortunate emergence of COVID-19, there has been more light placed on mental health. I mean, it's undeniable.
That's right.
And at some point, just generally as a society, we will have to not sort of try to avoid or be defensive about mental illness, but embrace it.
That's right. And as you said earlier, you know, the younger generation, young adults, teenagers, they are more open to it and speaking about it, having it in the public space, you know, as compared to the older generation who bottle everything up inside, and you know, it's like you can't talk about that. You know, people think you're mad, or and men especially. When it comes to that, you know, many men in the old mentality are trained, you know, to be a man.
Men don't cry.
Weakness. Men don't cry. Men. What are you so sad for? You know, you're walking around looking sad. Men don't do that.
Don't
You know, according to the
feel.
old mentality. You know, in this macho kind of, I'd say, false masculinity. So how do, you know, there's so many questions to be answered, and so limited time.
I know.
You know, and you know, it has come to the forefront so much more, especially in this pandemic, because everyone is locked away for the most part, and they're trapped with themselves and trapped with their demons, so to say. You know, so what are some simple tips before we go that one can do to help better or maintain mental health?
So cope with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as you said locked away with themselves, it reminded me that, you know, with the well, not lockdown, but with the COVID measures, you know, a lot of people in our society would find the benefit of socializing, going to the bars, having dinner out with friends, and liming a lot, partying, etc. That's their usual coping to
Right.
distress from the week, and we've lost that. And then when you ask a question, now that triggers me to say, don't create a bigger problem by drinking or overusing substances.
Overusing.
Yes.
You say don't drink, they give a little worry.
Correct. No.
How to say,
Sorry, yes, you can drink. You can. I mean,
just don't overdo. All right.
Don't overdo it, but by creating a drinking problem. But other tips, you know, even though we started saying okay, social distancing, but we physical distancing, not
Right.
social. So
Correct.
do keep up your social contacts. Research does show that one of the key ways to heal from any mental problem or even physical health problem is to have a good social support network. So keep that. Make sure you get some fitness and some exercise in your day to make your body feel good, and your nutrition. The three main things: eat, sleep, exercise. Those three lifestyle elements. Make sure you're paying attention to that. It sets you up to be able to handle whatever the day brings.
Eat, sleep, and exercise.
Yeah.
All right, that's it then. Well, that's the new watchwords.
Kelly McFarlane, I want to thank you so much for joining us this
You're
morning.
welcome.
And it was such a wonderful conversation. I wish we had more time, to be honest. But
Always,
thank you so much. As we get information there, there's no health without mental health. And I was chatting with clinical psychologists as well as organizational psychologist Kelly McFarlane about World Health Day. We're going to take a short break and come back with much more right here on the Now Morning Show. Stay with us.
Time keeps passing by. Oh, it's tempting me to try. It's been so